Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And today on the show, I'm so happy. I've got my good friend Masaki. How you doing, man?
I am fucking great. So
the tone has been set. So, where you at, man? What you been doing?
um we got this upcoming event on February 9th with the poetry room. It's called The Future is Lit. We are doing an event with the Firecracker Foundation. So the donations go to the Firecracker Foundation, and we got a huge feature for it. Her name's Ebony Stewart. Super talented.
So I was more like, where are you at right now? Are you in or in Lansing? Or
yeah, I wasn't sure like about that. I am in Okemos. I live in Okemos.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, but you're getting into it. Everyone's going to want to know what the poetry room, but I'd be surprised if they hadn't heard about it before. But before we get too far into that, tell us about you. Tell us like where were you born and raised, and what brought you here, or if maybe you were born and raised here. Sorry.
I did grow up here. Like I moved here when I was 13 from Massachusetts. Like I lived like in Okemos and still live in Okemos, so like I know the Lansing area well.
Yeah.
Were you from this area as well?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Lansing. My claim to fame that I love is that I work a block and a half from the high school I graduated from, and I live a block and a half from the hospital I was born in.
That's dope. And so you understand, like when I say I have a love-hate relationship with this place, but I'm allowed to say that because nobody loves trash unless it's family.
That's right. The fam can say whatever they want. So, I've been in Grand Rapids, I've been in Ann Arbor, and I had a place in Dubai that I commuted to for a while. But I keep coming back because I hate this city.
Yeah. I mean, I never left. I've been here. I feel like I know this city very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't leave because I had a child when I was very young, so I'm not gonna leave my child.
Right.
Yeah. So
tell us about you started getting into some events, and I'm not gonna forget that you said the Firecracker Foundation, because you gotta love the Firecracker Foundation. But why don't you tell us about the poetry room a little bit and what you're doing there, what got you started, all of that?
The poetry room is an open mic. When the pandemic hit, we turned it into a showcase. Because like the virtual open mics would have like 30 people who would sign up within like the first hour, and it was just pandemonium. We couldn't keep it up. It was just like a cluster, and we would have these big name features, and like these events are going like 2+ hours, and we're like, no, we can't do that. So we shortened it a bit, and we partnered with nonprofits to fundraise for our community, because we got to take care of Lansing. But the genesis of the poetry room is Dylan Rogers, who has been my friend, longtime friend, came up to me, and I opened up for one of his friends at the Robin Theater, and then afterwards he was like, hey, do you want to do an open mic here? And that's how it started. And I didn't want to per se, like people have talked to me about doing open mics, but I didn't want to, because often I felt like I was being pigeonholed into trying to be like the funny guy, and I didn't want to do that. But Dylan was the only person I was willing to do it from, because he's always been successful in his execution, whether it be the Loves, a super secret cult band, the Robin Theater in itself. I think he has great execution, and he never pigeonholed me, and he allowed me to make my mistakes. He was like, be who you want to be. And that's what I most appreciate about him, because he's always been truly, genuinely my friend first.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, my heart was broken. I wanted you here on this stage and all of that, but I'm just joking around, actually. Because the Robin Theater, when you started that, I mean, that's the perfect place. The whole aesthetic was just, I mean, it looked like the poetry room. I mean, the brand with consistency was there. I thought it was awesome that you teamed up with Dylan.
I mean, yeah, he was the only person I would ever say yes to this. And I know personally, I do think that we should toot our own horn sometimes because I know before 3 years ago, I know that I was doing open mics and poetry was like, if you go to an open mic, they were all pretty much just for music. And if you told
Mhm.
them you wanted to do poetry, they'd be like, oh, really? You know, and that's no type of disrespect, right? Like to any of them. But like poetry became a big thing in Lansing, and now all the open mics go, we want poets as well.
Yeah.
And that changed here because I remember going to like a place like Dagwoods. Shout out to Jen singing, and that's not an easy crowd to do poetry in. She was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yo, let me give it a whirl." But like, she didn't know like what my background was in like the spoken word, in the slam scene, and where you are able to kind of like control the crowd in a sense. And it went well for me, and from there it was. I had certain skill sets rather than that you're able to control the crowd and like draw them in. You know, like at Dagwoods is gonna be loud, but like I stood there for like couple like less than a minute and I just said nothing because like I'm trying to like get the crowd to like settle down for a bit before I actually started this. And I had to
Mhm.
do a funny poem to get like crowd reaction and like and interaction. And that's how I broke into that scene.
Do you want to do a funny poem right now?
I don't have like my poems memorized. I didn't know that. I thought I was just talking. I think
No, I, I'm just trying to mess with you and put you on the spot like that. I feel like at Dagwoods, you would have to have like a cage around you because they'd be throwing beer bottles at you.
Oh, those were like legendary nights. I loved Dagwoods on Tuesdays, especially at that open mic. I tell Jen all the time that even doing as an open mic, like I say to everybody, like you have to give your homage to like Jen because Jen has been doing this for so long.
I think I'm going to have to go get a cheeseburger after this.
Yeah.
So shout out to Dagwoods. Hey,
Yeah.
let's go back to the February 9th. The future is lit. Is
Hmm.
that that's the February 9th, right?
Yeah, Tashmika came up with that. It's a night of affirmations, and we were just gonna go along with the theme. We're bringing Ebony Stewart in. If you love poetry and know poetry, you should know Ebony Stewart.
Yeah. Um, so this is a fundraiser for the Firecracker Foundation.
That is correct.
Do you want to give a little shout out to the Firecracker Foundation and what they do so that people that might not have heard of them before, but again, I can't imagine anyone listening to this hasn't heard of the Firecracker Foundation.
The Firecracker Foundation, like I can't tell you everything on their mission. I know like a bit of their mission of like because they do so much, right? And I could tell you that they like help people, especially the youth who has been like going through sexual trauma and help
Mhm.
holistic healing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like just saying that is like shortchanging of everything that Technica does for people in this community as well. So that's my best version that I could give. But like, if you really want to know about it, I'll definitely like talk to her and like look at their website because I don't think that couple of sentences encompasses literally everything of like how important they are to this community.
Yeah, they are important. And shout out to her husband Paul, who is also really integral in our food delivery network that we have at the Fledge too. So power couple doing great things, and the Firecracker Foundation, really helping young people that, like you said, sexual trauma, abusive things, and we need to be there for our kids. And they have been doing it. They're amazing.
They are, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what's that look like? Is there a cover? Is it virtual? What?
It's a virtual event. Anything that says the poetry room, um, it's a free event. Like from the get go, Dylan and I always wanted to make these events free because we love this community. I work with a lot of people who are in high school. Maybe they don't have the money. Like, why would I ever want to charge, right? And that's always the goal, is to not to have to charge, even though like every artist should be compensated so for their art. But we love this community so much, and like I have really good friends and a great rich network of talented people, and they're helping out. The showcase is with me and 7 other amazing poets.
Okay. So how will you make money for the Firecracker Foundation? Will you request donations or something?
Yeah, the poetry room has always worked off of donations, and like we've been super lucky and blessed in the sense that we've always been able to make ends meet just out of donations.
And that's how you sustain?
That's how we have sustained so long. And I mean, like, yeah. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. I think, I share a similar philosophy that we've got to have low barriers to entry or no barrier to entry for a lot of people in our community. And especially when we're exposing them to the arts and culture, which is so important. I mean, we are such a diverse community and such a competent community that the creatives just seem to be everywhere. But they don't always have the opportunities that they would in New York or Chicago or LA or Boston or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've been, um, that low barrier to entry is super important, especially when you look at the landscape of lancing, when the median income is $36,000.
Mhm.
You wanna be that. It's not that much to be able to say like, hey, I'm going to all these events, right? Like if I charge $5, $10 at the door, I don't want them people not to come because they don't have $5, $10.
Right.
And I think that like the most important part about the poetry room is that we push each other to get better at our talent. So on the back end, like one of us got to make it. I've always said to Dylan, if we push each other so far, because at the poetry room, I always tell him, I was like, I don't really care about the numbers. I care about the talent and who wants to grow.
Yeah.
And everything just has fallen into place because, like me as a person, as a spoken word artist, that is the only thing I care about. It is the craft as itself.
So, Lansing has a poet laureate now, right? And they switch every 2 years, I think.
Laureate, yep, is the current poet laureate. Yep.
And are you connected to that? Have you tried to be that? Are people in your group, you know?
I mean, like Dennis Heinrichsen, who was the inaugural poet
Mhm.
laureate, has very much been a huge influence on me and has helped me kind of develop to who I am. But like, I have nothing to do with that currently, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. Maybe someday I might apply, but that would be an interesting thing.
This might sound like a silly question, but no, actually, I don't think so. Why is poetry important?
Um, I think it was Amanda Gorman who kind of compared it to like social exchange, right? And I definitely have always thought that poetry is a social exchange, that we're from nothing, from we don't like. I grew up not having, right? And
Yeah.
when you don't have all these toys, these video games. I'm a little bit older, so like we had like dial-up internet, um, and the internet wasn't as nearly accessible. So the best thing that you had was a pen and pad. Like that was it. Like that was the most fun that you had was writing,
Yeah.
and with that, I was able to reveal a lot about myself that I was not able to tell my friends. And if you didn't have access to therapy, that was your sense of like that was it. And
Yeah.
you're able to tell stories, and that's the people that I invest in the most. It's like the ones who are up there on stage really saying something, and that social exchange of making the world better, and you're able to do that through poetry.
So the inauguration would have been lame without poetry, right?
I thought,
I mean,
yeah.
huh?
I think that is I think Amanda Gorman is dope. I think there's a lot of people I know a lot of people who could have done that as well too though. And that's like me and my friends are super dope. My friends are that could have been one of my friends easily. Or like like one of the people that I have workshopped with at Everett. I mean they could do that too, right? They can. I believe in every one of them. And you can't tell me that they couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking anything away from Amanda, but I know so many people who could have been there as well doing that same thing.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying for sure. I want to go back to Everett for a little bit. You said workshops at Everett?
Yeah, I've been I've done one ever since I've started the poetry room. This last year we did one at Dwight Rich Art School as well.
All right.
And sharing poetry is super super important because like I truly believe in the students.
Yeah. So the with going back to the inauguration for a little bit,
Yeah.
And even I couldn't tell. E. E. Cummings is my favorite poet. At least my big poet, right? Maybe you're my favorite poet. I'm not sure. But I couldn't tell you who he really is. I sort of know what he looks like and all of that, but that the words and the imagery that was created. I mean, Biden could sit there and talk all day, and it's going to be one feeling that I get. But when she was talking and she was reciting poetry, and the poetry, it to me was the important part of what I'm about to say. It really flowered it up. It really filled me with hope. It really expanded the opportunity that I see coming to us over the next few years.
Yeah.
And I love poetry and I love what you're doing. And poetry will always survive technology, right?
Yeah.
Half the people just said, "What the hell's dial up?" Right? Nobody knows what that is anymore. But probably more people knew what E. E. Cummings was or who he was.
Yeah.
So I love how art and culture survives the capitalism and the consumerism and the tech.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I think the truth will always win. Right? The truth always reveals itself, and if you're true to it, it'll be true to you as well. And art's gonna be more important. Like I think what you're talking about when it comes to tech and everything gets automated, whatever it may be, art's gonna even be more important in the future because they said they can automate art, like they can make poems out of automation based off of like popular words and stories. Maybe that's true, but you can't. I don't think people fall in love with the poem. They fall in love with the poet.
Yeah.
Like your favorite like musician. Like you have a favorite musician. You don't fall in love with that one song. You fall in love with the musician and their entire collection, even though it's not like great, Like I love Jay-Z. I have all his albums and I listen to it all the time. It was every one of his songs great to me? No, but like I know what he meant to me growing up. And whatever he puts out, I'm always gonna have.
Well, if you love Jay-Z, then you need to be pitching at 99 Problems, but a pitch ain't one.
Yeah. You and I just briefly talked about that, so we might have to talk about that
at a different. I'm not gonna make you commit on air. That would be mean. So, what do you mind if I want to talk about one other quick subject?
Yeah.
What do you do day to day to sustain? Because if you're just sustaining the poetry room on donations, how do you eat and pay rent and pay your bills and stuff like that? Do you have a different job?
Oh yeah, like I got a good ass job. Like I got a nice stable job. I mean, like anybody who's watching this, Jared and I know each other for a while. there was the e-pathways program, and I was able to kind of go back to school, get a computer science degree. I was able to get a full ride at the end for a 4-year degree in computer science, and um, I've been doing that since, working in the software.
Yeah. So e-pathways was a success for you, right?
It was yeah, it was an amazing experience, and changed my life for the much better. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I love that program. I think that JD and at the time we hired more apprentices than I think anybody in the city eventually. But anyways, so you're a tech guy
Yeah.
and you're in poetry. Does your right and your left side of your brain argue constantly?
Probably more than I know it, but you still got to use logic, and then sometimes you got to use your creative side, and it makes it burst out more when you're able to just not have to use the logical side all the time.
I used to have dreams of my brain splitting into two because they didn't want to be around each other anymore. So
Yeah, like I wish I could write all day, but I'm an adult and um, I have things I got to take care of.
yeah, you got to do adult shit.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, child support ain't cheap. People do.
But yeah, you're right. So, what's your mission? Like, what's your mission as a person? What's your mission for the poetry room?
Um, but the poetry room, I hope one day maybe turn it into a nonprofit, because I do eventually want to be able to fairly compensate everybody. A lot of the times that people are doing these events, they know that I'm not making a lick out of it. If anything, I'm actually in the red for a lot of these events.
Mm-hmm.
Never took $1 home for the poetry room, because it's never been about money. It's always been about like trying to just get better at my craft. Um, when Dylan first asked me, I was so busy at the time, but I was really trying to like condense all of my social time into one huge day, which did not happen that way. I was like, you know what? Most of my friends are poets and musicians, so maybe instead of going to all their events, I could get all my friends who are one into one day to do it for me. So, and that did not happen that way. The poetry room became like this all-encompassing thing. It kind of backfired on me in a great way.
I think I just had an epiphany about myself. Maybe that's why I started the Fledge, is because I was sick of going to 200 things. I want to bring it all here.
Yeah, exactly, right? And then
Yeah.
you realize you're like, well, it doesn't work like that. You end up having more to do.
Yeah. So what's something you do every damn day to kind of push that needle forward?
Um, During the pandemic, I'm learning to take care of myself, to create boundaries. I think that's an important thing, because I think the first 3 years I was working so hard, I got burnt out. A lot of sacrifices within my personal life took a hit, and every damn day I make sure I take a bath, I read, and if I don't feel like reading poetry and I'm burnt out from poetry, I don't read poetry, but I read for pleasure. I do often read poetry, but I think relaxing and treating myself and loving myself is what I do every damn day to push myself forward.
I think that is such a great statement, great advice to people. I think that during the pandemic, a lot of bad has happened. People have died. People have been unemployed. People are suffering from food insecurity and depression and all of that. But there's a lot of good that has come out of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your kind of shining light that you've seen during the pandemic?
I grew a lot. In all honesty, and I want to be honest because I love being like an open book.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time. A lot of bad things happened, but there's always a silver lining in everything that's bad. Like poetry definitely took a back burner. I haven't been writing, and I'm allowing myself to go through this writer's block. But I'm learning to love myself and being present with the people that I love the most. I went through a breakup right before through it, and I cared about this person a lot, and I felt bad. It didn't work out, but it made me have to like really go, hey, what was wrong? And it slowed everything down for me to really reflect on my life and go, okay, this is what was wrong, and I want to be a better person, and I want to do better next time, and that's the best that I can do, and that is something that I accept that I will do better next time.
Yeah, I do like how the pandemic has slowed everything down in the Fledge's life, or my life at the Fledge too, because it has given me time to reflect. And I was in a completely, I don't know, one thing to the next, to the next, to the next all the time, and now it's like a deep breath I can take every once in a while.
You definitely get caught up, and you lose what's important to you, and the people that we love are always going to be the most important.
Yeah.
You know, I would rather spend every moment with the people that I love rather than like be the best poet in the world. Right? I mean, I love poetry. Don't get me wrong, but like
Yeah.
spending like the day with my son is going to be always more rewarding than like a crowd of thousands of people. Sorry, it's just it.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. And I think you got your priorities exactly straight, in my opinion, anyways. So we daisy chain the, how old's your son?
He's 14.
14. All right. So how's he been doing in the pandemic? I mean, he's got a new school strategy and all these things.
I mean, he doesn't like the doing classes at home, but like, you know, he's not getting in trouble. He's 14, so I'm like, well, this buys me a little bit more time.
Yeah.
He gets a girlfriend and then just goes, no, I'm not gonna hang out with dad because I'm gonna go ahead, you know. So
Yeah.
I take this as like it's a gift. Whatever you can get as a father is you got to see everything as a gift when you have the time.
Yeah. So we daisy chain the shows together.
Yeah.
And yesterday on the show, we had the Bianca and Orlando from 24 Karat Talent. And they have a question for you that I'm going to pass to you. And their question was, are your goals today with the Poetry Room different than the goals when you first started?
Definitely not.
Same goals.
Definitely not, because all the goals that I wanted were completed within the first year. And if you're asking me like if I was talking to 2017 Masaki versus now, I wouldn't believe you with all that has happened. I mean, like, I've been in touch with like I got a poem published, and it was dedicated to my favorite rapper growing up was MC Jin, who was the first Asian American solo rap artist to get signed to a major record label. Reached out to me and said he saw my poem and give me props for it. Bosia, who was my childhood hero, did an event with me and with the students I get to workshop with at Everett. And I got to, the city of Lansing had paid me to pay everybody. Like, I would have never fathomed that. So, like, you're going to finish all your goals within the first year. And, like, you should never believe in anything that's not possible. Because everything has come to me as, like, anything can happen.
Well, one of my favorite poets said, impossible is nothing. Do you know who said that?
I do not.
Muhammad Ali.
Nice.
So tomorrow on the show, we've got the leader of the Great Lakes Virtual Academy, Kelly. What question would you like me to pass to Kelly?
Kelly, in 2021, how will you change the landscape of Lansing?
I really love that question. I mean, it is so big and so powerful. yet so doable. Like you were saying, your big goals, they all happened in your first year. How are you going to change the landscape of Lansing in 2021?
The poetry room is going to be a lot stronger, bigger. There's a lot of good karma coming for us with all the showcases that we've done. We've made a lot of connections, and I guarantee you, the first day we're back, it's going to be a line around the block. We're going to bring in a lot more talent. We're going to bring a lot more talent to Lansing because, like, I have this vision for Lansing to be the mecca of poetry in Michigan, and it is going to come true.
That Lansing will be the mecca of poetry in Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that happening easy.
We're going to have the best events here.
All right. So I'm really excited about that. I'm trying to type up a little bit. February 9th, the future is lit.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's featuring Ebony Stewart. If any of you want to like YouTube that, you should. Super dope poet.
Okay. And it benefits the Firecracker Foundation.
That's right.
So are there any other events planned?
We're probably going to do these showcases until maybe April or May. For March, it is going to be with all of the above hip hop. We don't have a feature for that one yet, but like, yeah, I'm part of AOTA and want to support them as well.
All right. So shout out to AOTA too, because love those guys. How much crossover do you have with rappers? You know, rapper to spoken word to poetry. It seems to me sometimes like a continuum.
It definitely is. Like, if anybody who knows me, I actually started. How I fell into poetry was through rap. I used to rap and freestyle battle, and that was my thing. But then, you know, when you get older, you can't just make jokes about people all the time within the 30-second time span. You evolve.
See, I need to work with you on 99 Problems, because when I first envisioned it, I envisioned a rap battle. I envisioned 99 seconds to pitch your idea, rap battle format, DJ cutting you off and everything. But I can't quite figure out how to get people that they're not even confident that they're an entrepreneur that should be pitching. Yeah. And then how do I bring them? Maybe I need to talk to you. We'll talk. We got a few things to talk about. So as we start to wrap up here, what would you like to take us out with? Do you have some advice? Do you have something you want to promote? Do you want to give a shout out to anybody?
Shout out to everybody who's ever supported the Poetry Room. Shout outs to Dylan, the Robin Theater, Gina D, his partner. I thank everybody for being part of this, and like, just keep working on your craft. Like, anything, like, don't be distracted from anything out here. Just work on your craft and everything will fall into place and you will succeed. I promise you that. And hopefully we all have an amazing 2021.
I love it. So great advice. Thank you for being on the show. Thanks for telling us all this. You got anything else?
I want to shout out Melissa. She did the Social Gap and she like messaged me and she's like, you need to be on this. And that's why I'm here. So gotta shout her out.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. That was a good show. I like that. But thanks again. And everyone, tomorrow, every damn day is at 2:00. Every damn day it's at 2:00. And we will see you later.
See ya.
Thanks, Masaki. See ya.